Eresman.
Grecia Hubbard.
Perez. Marissa Shields.
I can teach you all the secrets of Freemasonry and answer all your questions about conspiracy theories and secret gatherings of the oldest worldwide fraternity. Why should you believe me? Well, as a member of Fellowship Military Lodge number 82, District number 9, and as a 32nd degree Master Mason, I might know a little bit about Masonry. I'd be willing to bet that some of you had or currently have Masons in your family now. Masonry is a test of mind, body, and soul, and it can change your perspective on life, and it's been around longer than you might think. Today we're going to talk about Freemasonry, what is Freemasonry, how to become a Mason, and a little bit about the history of Freemasonry in North America. For starters, I like to jump right in and clear up any speculation of Freemasonry. Freemasonry is the oldest worldwide fraternity to this day that embodies certain morals and beliefs that are geared to making good men better. So you ask, what is Freemasonry? A fraternity of men, bound by obligations based on the medieval stonemason craft guild. Masonry is not a religion, but rather a philosophy. Many people get it misconstrued and believe that because you're a Mason, you don't believe in God, you believe in an idea. The meaning behind the handshakes and passwords are simply to recognize another Mason in his standing within his lodge. The foundation of Masonry starts in the Blue Lodge. A lodge is a house of Masonry that can be the setting of all houses in Masonry. The Blue Lodge is the first 3 degrees of Masonry that all Masons must complete before they are known as a Master Mason, and they must complete all the ceremonies that come along with each degree. Masonry is an organization, and like all organizations, you have people who run them, and there are positions and seats within Masonry that you can find in the Duncan Masonic Ritual and Monitor, a guide to the 3 symbolic degrees in ancient New York writing. So what do Masons do? They enhance the community through charitable events. They meet regularly and take care of business. We pay bills to the Grand Lodge, and we coordinate future classes. All Masons strive to be better all-around people and enhance the quality of life for others. People tend to be turned off to the idea of Masonry simply because of the lack of knowledge on the topic and how to become one. So how do you become a Mason? Basically, it's an extensive process that requires a few things of importance to protect the fraternity. And you can go to www.mwphglwa.org to find out the specifics on that. You have to seek out a Mason to become a Mason, and you have to petition for membership. A petition is like an application. Once you meet the requirements of the Masons that you are petitioning to and receive their signatures, you turn your petition in and your fee along with it, and wait for your petition to be placed on the altar to be voted on. Eventually you'll be contacted and a date will be set up for an interview. Now the interview process, you'll basically be screened based on your morals, your beliefs, and basically to make sure that your family's on board. After your interview, you'll be given further instructions, and you'll wait until you're contacted later on to actually begin traveling your first degrees. So when you go through your first 3 degrees, you'll be brought to other people who have petitioned like you, and you're basically going to have to get to know these individuals. You're going to have to learn to work together because at the end of the day you all have the same end goal in mind. And also, I'm sorry about that, basically you just want to, everyone has the same end goal in mind. Masonry, or by now you have a good idea about what Masonry is, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the history. Masonry in America began in the 1700s. And according to Lambert F., the founding fathers of Lambert F., the founding fathers and the place of religion in America, lodges have sprouted out through the colonies during this time without the permission of the Grand Lodge. Americans in their independence at the time was a big thing. But 9 Freemasons signed the Declaration of Independence, including Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, and more than 40 of the General Commission by the Continental Congress were Masons. Prince Hall was the founding father of African American Freemasonry. He also fought in the Continental Army, and he received the first charter for African American Lodge accepted by the Grand Lodge in 1787. And you can find that reference in L&D's Inside Prince Hall. So eventually World War II comes around, and of course Masonry was around then, and Adolf Hitler actually blamed Masons of being part of a propaganda theory that the Jews were using us as puppets to take over the world. Of course it worked because all Masons were sent to concentration camps as well. Ironically, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, and King George VI led the United States and Britain in the war, and they were all Masons. And President Harry S. Truman, who was the past Grand Master of Missouri, ended the war in Japan. Masonry was lost to a generation, however. Membership in the United States has dropped significantly since World War II because of the increase in members during the war, and they were dying at an increasing rate. Since the baby boomers didn't join lodges and their children weren't exposed to Masonry, which is why most of us have never heard much about it, Masonry is part of everything American and has etched itself into our history books, even though it hasn't talked about directly. Clearly it exists. And you can find that in Christopher Hoodap's Freemasonry for Dummies. So, today we talked a little bit about what Masonry is, how to become a Mason, and Masonry in our history. Masonry is a test of mind, body, and soul, and it can change your perspective on life forever. So, whenever it is brought to your attention and you see the square and compass, you must remember that the square in blue is to square your action, the compass to circumscribe your desires, and the G stands for the grand architect of the universe, is always in the center of everything all you do. Thank you. That concludes my speech. That's it. That's it. Did it hurt?
We still on camera?